pleasure and the privilege to declare that this report is officially launched.
Of Mama Victor, who lost her life due to floods. Even her, after the floods, the house and everything was taken away by government through eviction. The family is still hanging in limbo, but we cannot forget the work she did. This directs the vigilante, they come for you and you are killed through mob injustice. So that is the new normal ambayo iko mtaani, where police are not shooting directly, but they have a team, a squad that they are using to kill people in the name of security. So, and the another trend was the protests, where young people are now taken over the freedom and the right to protest, and they are doing it very well. They are notifying the police through posters. So polisi asome poster alafu tukutane kwa street.
Some of the situations that they find themselves in, they must bear in mind that the Constitution guarantees picketing. And when people are picketing, the police must be trained on how to handle those situations and understand that you are not going to stop these people who have a right to picket by using brute of force. That is not something that we can condone anymore. As many of you gathered here may be aware, in May, actually last week, on the 1st of May 2025, Kenya was reviewed by the United Nations Human Rights Council through the Universal Periodic Review process in Geneva. The report from that process recommended quite a number of things to be done by Kenya. They have already been shared here, but because of their importance, I want to repeat them. The advance report that has been released has made recommendations to the Kenyan government that the government should, number one, conduct impartial and effective investigations into the excessive use of force by the security agencies and take responsive action. The government should also establish a legal framework to criminalize and prevent enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings. The further recommendation is that the government should ratify the International Convention on the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance and adopt national legislation to prevent and criminalize enforced disappearance. This last recommendation, I have just been told here that the government is shocking. That I don't know how do we want to live? How do we want to live? We are an international community. I mean, if there is an international, without even this recommendation, the government should be the first one to be on the forefront of defending human life. You don't even need an international convention to do that. And here is a recommendation that has been made, and the government refuses. I mean, I want to believe that that is not true, because I can't see how any government can refuse to ratify a convention that requires that we preserve human life. I want to appreciate the role of the international community in highlighting some of these things, if for nothing else, for the record and for public information. The report we are about to launch this morning is not just a record of the past. it is also a call to action for the future. We cannot stand idle while these human rights violations continue. I think as Kenyans, we should join the missing voices and demand the immediate and concrete action from government to complete the investigations on the ongoing disappearances and prosecute those who are involved. That is something that the whole country should demand so that the government takes action. The government should take action and ensure that this kind of atrocities do not occur in the future. Despite the grim realities documented in the report, Kenyans and especially the young people remain hopeful. We are inspired by the courage and the resilience of the victims of the excesses of state. We are inspired by the voices from the families who have had to bear the brunt of those atrocities. We are also inspired by the get that skit. In fact, in my view, you don't need to edit it, and I mean you don't need to edit anything because it brings out. You even saw the baby. I mean, I was wondering whether the baby also understood what was going on. Because those are the experiences people go through, and I think if we can get that captured so that it is shared in the public will understand what is going on. Overall, the stories are accounts. The stories and accounts covered in the report underscored the urgent need for systemic change and reform in the police service and the other institutions of the state, so that they act with dignity. They act to remember that they are serving human beings. They act to remember that the country requires them to be professional. The country requires them to be professional. The task force on the police reforms that I chaired between, I'm delighted to be here today for the launch of this very, very important report. I've perused part of the report, and I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the missing voices for their incredible work in compiling the report. We have already been given the constitution of the missing voices. For those of us who may not be aware who they are, the missing voices is a coalition of human rights organizations committed to ending enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings in Kenya. The coalition envisions a society where human rights and fundamental freedoms are respected by all. The Missing Voices is a coalition of several organizations, as I've said, who are partnered and come together. The list has already been read. I don't need to repeat that. The report is a culmination of countless hours of work and tireless dedication and immense bravery on the part of the monitors, partners, and the victims of the families of the victims who have shared their harrowing stories. I take this opportunity to acknowledge once again the contributions each of these institutions has made to get this report published, as well as all the people involved and the courage and the boldness that comes out of the report. The report serves as a crucial tool for documenting, analyzing, and raising awareness about the alarming trends of police-related violence, as well as enforced disappearances in our country. The findings of the report are deeply disconcerting to anybody who has a conscience. The report documents a sharp increase when we should be saying no more of these killings. The report comes with a sharp increase of the extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances, demonstrating a worrying trend of state-sponsored intimidation and suppression. When you get those kind of torture, when you get those kind of killings coming out as state-sponsored, it should be something that should be worrying to every one of us. It is troubling to see that the continued and increasing number of extrajudicial killings often are carried out with impunity. The events of 2020, of the 25th June last year during the Gen Z demonstrations revealed the police brutality is heavily disproportionate against the youths. Ladies and gentlemen, behind each statistic in the report are human beings. Behind each statistic in the report are harrowing experiences of the family members. The anguish the parents have gone through, the anguish the family members have gone through, who must live with the loss of their loved ones, and some who have already been named. Those harrowing experiences, in my view, should be brought to the public fore. And I want to join Reverend Agola in calling that the organizers of this event find a way of capturing that skit that brought to life what quite a number of families are going through.
To follow up on those cases, I think we can work together. But I know that already that case is going on. I don't know whether it has been put on the defense or not. I've not followed the case. Maybe when I go back, I will ask for a brief. But I know it has been charged, and the case is going on. I think there's a witness going on. But we are with the families. We are with you as families, as victims of enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings. I think we need to hold the government accountable. We need to hold our security forces accountable, and we need to demand for justice for the victims and the families. I have been asked.
Claire Thomas from US State Department. Thank you so much for coming. Friends from Embassy of Netherlands, Embassy of Sweden, we recognize your presence here. Thank you, survivors of violence are really critical for us. Josephat, please, next to Isaac. So yeah, and you see Wanjira, you see the brave photo in this report is Wanjira fighting for justice, and we. So in 1, 2, 3, let's raise our reports and say, justice now, justice now. Okay, I'll give the chief guest to officially say this is launched.
Please raise the report.